So it's October 30th, about 8:20 a.m., 33 degrees, year's 2020, obviously, and we're on the corner of 5th and Belfield, about to take a last fall foliage tour of the trees on the Cathedral of Learning Lawn in Pittsburgh. So now we're just inside the Belfield 5th corner, looking at the English beech and the two rows of trees that form the perimeter, the oak trees on the right, and right behind the beech, a line of sweet gums. This is the line of sweet gums. Now we're looking at another beech tree, the smaller of the two beech. With the dawn redwood. In the background. The dawn redwood, which is a deciduous tree, still has its leaves. The two Cornelius cherry dogwoods on the right side of the path. This walkway lined on either side by Amur cork trees and three more Cornelius cherries. Tulip poplar with the Amur cork trees to the right. The American elm with the Amur cork trees behind it. The umbrella canopy is pretty sparse. Most of the leaves have come off. The canopy's wider than the tree is tall. And then in the distance over by, in front of Cathedral, are the Chinese scholars, also known as Japanese philosophers or something like that. The parallel walkway, also with Amur cork trees. Now we're going to head to the other side of Hines. The red maple to the left front of Hines has lost a lot of tree leaves. There's the walkway to COL, Cathedral behind it. Now we're pointing towards Carnegie Museum. At Amur cork trees, and then downside of the hill there's a big linden tree. That's the small garden next to Hines Chapel. Now we're looking down the two lines of trees, the double perimeter of trees along Belfield Avenue towards Carnegie Museum. That's a very large northern red oak on our left, and then that's the path, diagonal path that goes to the log cabin, which is where we're going next. Little leaf linden tree. Cucumber magnolia. That's a sweet gum with the light on it. Leaves turning yellow, and the Carnegie music hall in the distance. And red maple behind the path. Just starting to turn red. Must be warmer down here. That's a big ginkgo. Still pretty green with a cucumber tree on its left. The trunk right behind it, in line with the cabin, is a big chestnut. Red maple. It's a chestnut tree in front of the Stephen Foster birthplace log cabin. It's still believed to be his birthplace. Then panning around to the Carnegie Museum. So another ginkgo on the left and a yellow buckeye on the right, and that both in front of Stephen Foster Memorial. That's Don Redwood on the right, and two Chinese scholars next to it in front of Cathedral. And in the foreground, there's a row of crabapple trees. These are two smaller ginkgos. The one on the right has turned much more. The leaves have turned more than the one on the left. The leaves on this yellow buckeye or Sawtooth Oak or whatever it is haven't really changed at all. That's the Don Redwood and the Chinese scholar, aka Japanese pagoda tree, with Heinz Chapel in the far distance. And the yellow buckeye or Sawtooth Oak, whatever these leaves overhead. That's Hillman Library. And this is the Chinese scholar, big Chinese scholar. Very tiny leaves. That's a red oak to the right, a sweet gum in the middle, and sugar maple, I think, to the left there. That's a linden with a Chinese scholar behind it. In the alley between, or the corridor, the walkway between Stephen Foster Memorial on the right and Cathedral of Learning on the left. This in front of Cathedral on the Bigelow side. That's an elm in the foreground, and to the right and to the back, just behind it, a pair of them, and then on the distance there, a third. You can see that the sweet gums on this side of Cathedral are staying green. They tend to stay green later anyway. And then behind it we get a good view of one of those tall elms, one of the three tall elms that stand directly in front of cathedral. Here we see a good example of how the leaves change colors differently for different species. So the sweet gum's right up hanging down here, it's all green still. The red behind it is a pin oak, and then straight ahead is a linden tree. So the pin oak is really changing the linden trees faster than the sweet gum. By the way, this entire section that we're about to come to, the Fifth Avenue side, right in front of Cathedral, is pretty much linden trees, aside from the outer perimeter of oaks and sweet gums and a little grove of yellow or golden birch trees right in the middle. I misspoke, there's only one golden birch tree. Anyway, we're in the shadow of Cathedral. It's only about 10:30, so we really can't see very much down here. But this is the golden or yellow birch tree. And you can see its fruit, or whatever those are. I guess the seed pods hanging off of it. So here we can see a row of lindens in front of the north side of the cathedral. That girl's walking down towards Bigelow. That's a sweet gum next to the English elm, very big English elm, which has hardly changed at all so far. So there's the Amur cork trees in front of the American elm. So Thomas Starzl and the look up the path along the east side of Cathedral of Learning. Those are the Chinese scholar trees lining this path. So one last look at the American elm, Cathedral, lawn, Hines Memorial Chapel.